Hello traders, I produced a video yesterday. For some reason it wouldn't work, so here I am again Monday morning just doing this again, which is giving me time to reflect a little bit more on some of the key charts. One of the things I want to talk to you about what's going on in the market for the bigger picture is this chart here. This is the 20-year T-bonds, the government bonds, US bonds, and so you can see this fall off here, and the push higher was sold into, and we're still dipping down. The problem with this is if you've got a debt market which is unstable, it shows lack of confidence in that currency basically. So at the moment the investors are not liking the dollar, and the yields in this are coming up as this comes off, which is that's how bonds work. That's the divergent relationship between yields and price on bonds. You need a healthy bond market. For a healthy stock market, you need a healthy bond market, because if the debt market is shaky and lacks confidence, then that reflects in the stock market, which is why one of the main reasons why we're seeing real weakness and pathetic performance on the US stock market, apart from the fact we've got some other issues out there. But the other thing that's come into play is we have midterm elections in 6 months' time. So it'll be 2 years since Trump was elected in this November, and that is any sort of level of uncertainty, as you all know, is generally shown in the market. The reason why this could be a turning point is because this is the main part of the earnings season, the US earnings season. So at the moment, to get this in perspective, we have a weak bond market, which is worrying the markets. But if we can repeat this pattern here, this is a weekly chart, daily chart of the bond market. If we can come down here and find some support somewhere around here, then I think that could trigger a pickup in the stock market. So if we now let's go to the NASDAQ, is what the NASDAQ does, the rest of the market leads. And let's tidy this daily chart up so we can really sort of get a grip on where we think this NASDAQ may be going, in fact. So we had so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave pattern and a 1, 2, 3 wave correction. Now we've got a 1, 2, but we're still in wave 3 on this NASDAQ. If we fib it, we will notice that obviously we're down in early April on this daily chart. We found some support on the 200. This little pickup into Wednesday the 18th was sold into. So if we now fib the last move, what have we got? We've got a market that's just sitting on the lower part of this. This is the central zone without the 50% in there, just to keep it nice and clean. So bottom line is, if we close under 66.30 area, then we are potentially coming lower. If we come down and hold this and come down to 66.35 and hold, or dip underneath it and close back up, then we could at least get back to 68.40 and then potentially make a run for the highs. But at best it's sideways at the moment. So a very weak close into the back end of last week, and there's everything to do. The bulls have really got to hold this up, otherwise this is toast. So it's a mixed signal. So even today's close could be quite crucial. If we see a dip and get bought, close above 6,700, then we are potentially okay on the daily chart. So that was the daily chart. On the weekly, you can see this level here of 65.10 was 2017 highs. Move across to the Dow. and you will see that we actually got a sell signal on the weekly. So we're coming in to test 2017 highs, rejected it and closed lower, but it's narrow range, very narrow range. So it's a pathetic few weeks since we had this big drop on the middle of March. So I would suggest that if we start to come into 24,700 and sell, then we could come back down to this trend line. However, on the daily, you can see we're right on the line. Similar, obviously very similar pattern to the Nasdaq, where this is the central fib zone and we're just dipping underneath it right now. So close under here today, and that could trigger more selling down into 24,000. If that doesn't hold, then we are coming lower, and we're going to hit this trend line that sits right under there. So the first half this week is going to be crucial. I think what they may do is drag it down the first half of the week and buy it up the second half of the week. DAX already seen a significant couple of hours of selling into the open. Really struggling with this resistance up here. And we have, so if I put that underneath there, we're already coming out of that little channel. You can see the MACD is quite high and the histograms are falling over. So this has got it all to do as well. Now we're gapped up. So let's look at the hourly. We've gapped up here from a close of 532 area, gapped up to 586 and immediately started to sell into that. I think it's just got a lot to do with the fact it's just low volumes, and the futures market just popped up to try and get some volume back in the market. But we've come down to 460 and at the moment we're just above 500. We've had 2 hours of lower closes. So if we can get a higher close here, we may be able to push back into last week's highs. But it's, bear in mind what I just said about the weekly and the daily. This is a very fragile market where, okay, we've had 4 weeks higher closes, but last week was a doji, which generally means you've run out of steam. It's at very least a pause. So the DAX is in much better shape than the US markets, but it is not a great picture. If I strip the daily back and fib the last move, let's fib the last big move here. Get rid of the signals. So this is suggesting that 12400 is the main support. I've got last week's lows at 374. So if we come down and just dip under 374 and then bounce back, then I think we can make a run for 750. But that's a horrible chart. Last week we had a big move up on Tuesday, and that's it. We just drifted, really just hung, not knowing where to go. So I think these at the very least these markets need a dip. And if we get that in the first half of the week and that gets bought, then we stand a chance of at least attacking some of these higher levels. Otherwise, my fear is this will just, well, not my fear, but my prediction is that this little move here will just slide lower, gradually slide lower, and potentially gather momentum to the downside. Particularly, and of course the key is going to be coming under that 400. But this market just does not look happy up here, and the highs are selling and unless this market really does a significant turnaround, we are lower. Pound had fun shorting the pound last week. This is the daily. 143.43 was the main area. I shorted at 370. The high was 375. I didn't intend to try and pick the top, but I got close to it because my setup happened to be around that area. I'm now looking for this to come up to at least 141, and then let's see if we can make a dash for 137, 135. I could be persuaded to get bullish the pound if we close above 141 and hold. But because I mean the last time we came down we found some support and dipped back up again as well. So if we can come down and close above here, I could be persuaded to be bullish. Otherwise I'm going to look to short 141 and see if we can make the next leg down. Elliott, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So potentially, so that's a 5 and 3 wave move. If this is a new 5 wave move, we're heading for potentially 135. Very nice. That's a clear sell signal on the weekly. New high, close below the next bar. Pound yen. Very similar, although there is much more support underneath this pound yen. And the yen pairs tend to be much more sensitive to the indices. So if the indices can find some buyers, then this might pick up off this 50%. But in the meantime, that's got huge resistance at 225, and that would be a nice sell area for me. If this is wave 1 to the downside, wave 2 would take us back to this sell zone, and then we could come and find ourselves under 149 if that's the case. Moving to commodities, oil. It's had a good couple of weeks, started to flatten out last week. I think this 66.50 is a huge area. I think we'll drift back to this breakup area, 66.40 area. If that holds, then I think we can come and see 70 plus. Gold. On the daily, we're right on this trendline support. Now, if this is a real sort of bullish consolidation, we need to pick up around about now and close above 1335. Otherwise, I can see what do I think is going to happen. I think we're going to pull right back down to 13. I think a lot will be dependent on that bond market. I think if the bond market drops hard, I think the gold might get bought, and we might revert back to the typical safe haven. If the markets if the indices pick up, I think this could fall and begin to fall quite hard. And let's look at silver's had a good run. Silver's in much better shape. I really like silver from 1685 area. It's a nice pattern. You can see we've actually hit, if I did extend this trend line, you can see we've had 3 touches of the underside of this trend line. So found a lot of sellers up there. So I think we're pivoting around this 200-day average. Come underneath it, back above it, underneath it, back above it, with sell. So a significant sell down here, nice MACD. histograms were divergent, not the crossovers. So waved around the 200 again, broken up. So it's all going to be down. So it's pretty range bound, really. The highs are selling, the lows are getting bought. Nice big box pattern here. So we come back to test the higher the box, then I would expect this area about $80 to sit up here. So $80 will put us at about 1740. So I think we could come and see 1740, 1750 on the silver. So that one's nice. Bitcoin found some momentum on the 12th, went really flat again, and now we're having a go. I don't trust it. Yeah, I've done a lot of research on Bitcoin. I think it's just finding its feet. After this exuberant bubble that took it up to 20, we dropped right the way back to 60. Sorry, to 6. Yeah, I just think this is just really. I think it's playing with fire. Personally, trading that one. So I would stand clear. Okay, as I'm speaking, getting a little bit of a push up on the intraday charts. Look at the 1 hour and the 15 minutes. Come off the 127 extension at 467, and we've just tested 525. So 15 minutes has caught that move pretty well. So if we now come back to 470, 480 mark and hold, that may push up higher. But like I said, these highs at the moment are selling. The best move obviously was the shorts. So the shorts have done really well. At the moment, the shorts are still winning on selling into the highs. And if this hourly closes below 470, 474, then we are potentially coming back down to the lows of the week and could sink even lower. Okay, so nervy markets. So I'm taking it easy today, particularly waiting for the Dow to open, see what the Dow's going to do. But I'm just coming back to this DAX daily. I mean, that is not a chart I would want to sit in along at the moment until we get a nice dip to get some volume back in it, and we see the buyers buy those dips and confirm that there is the potential for higher moves. But in the meantime, I would definitely keep shorting the highs, because that is what that area here of 600 is a massive barrier. In fact, I'm going to colour that bright yellow so it sticks out and doesn't get confused with that's 50%, isn't it? That's roughly 50, just thereabouts 50%. Okay, so I hope that helps. The video is a bit longer than I thought, but there is a lot to go through. So very tentative markets, already seeing selling in the European Open. Don't see why the Dow should be any different, despite that gap up. I think we could perhaps in the early part of the week already come and see some lower numbers around here at 24.2 and 24,000. I will update you as best I can if I see anything later in the day. But make sure you're at Traders Roundtable, because I'm going to pull up these bigger time frames and go into more detail about the chart patterns I'm seeing at the moment, and try to search for the best chart of the week. Let's nominate the best chart of the week in Traders Roundtable, and we'll look for entry and exit level on that. Alright, enjoy the sun. I've got a lot of sun where I am. I hope you've got sun where you are, and talk to you later. Bye for now.